What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the shows, we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. We're in the new studio again, working on things slowly. Sound should be a little bit better this week. Still empty in here, a little bit more. There's more stuff in here, you just can't see it yet, but not the important part. Let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, Losi decided to drop a new version of the Losi Mini LMT. So the 18th scale version of their monster truck. And this time it is the Megalodon. Now, they did it. They dove all the way in and did the baby shark thing. I mean, it's, you know, it's got all the little do all over this thing. Except, like, there's a ton of pieces, not just a Lexan body on top. So that part to me is impressive. Now, I'm not heavy into the Monster Jam world. I don't know the popularity of Megalodon on the grand scheme. Like, for me, it's, you know, the big Gravedigger, Bigfoot. I know Bigfoot isn't Monster Jam, but like Bigfoot, or sorry, Gravedigger is just the monster truck. They already did that one. I don't really have like that recollection or that instant, you know, second recall of another version. So maybe Megalodon is that now for people. I don't know. It felt like just an odd choice to me, but it's, like I said, I'm just not in that world, so it probably isn't. I'm guessing, at least. It just seems crazy to see these little mini shark bodies driving around on monster trucks. I don't know. But you'll have to let me know. How do you feel about the mini Megalodon? Cool? You're buying it? You not buying it? I'd like to know. Also, as soon as they got dropped, also added to the website the separate body set. So if you wanted to put this body set on something, but I also found it interesting that you can buy just the hood. So you can buy just that, which to me, like, I immediately was just like, kind of looks like a buggy hood. So somebody should buy this and put it on a tube buggy. Just that part, nothing else, none of the other body part, just the hood. Now, last week was the Nuremberg Toy Fair, traditionally has been one of the biggest toy fairs anywhere in the world. It's not as big as it used to be, though. So, you know, you don't have all of the brands that show up. There was Tamiya there, and then you had representation from a lot of other places, but not like the full company. Like Kyosho was there, but it was just the European distributor, not, you know, the headquarters in Japan or anything like that. So just, you know, Traxxas wasn't there, Horizon wasn't representing, but there was cars from those places there just based on different companies that carry the units, if that makes sense. But to me, it was by far the largest, you know, star of the show as far as releases and things like that go. The Fighter Next Gen was the one that I think I saw the most represented online. Now, they had a ton of different vehicles they were kind of showing off. Like, they've got their BMW licensing back, so there was a bunch of those. But the Fighter Next Gen, new setup there. It is using some carryover from some other platforms, but it is also, it seems like a new platform as well. The body itself, like from the photos, to me, I was like, it looks like a Lego kit. Just kind of how some of the stuff goes together. It is a hard body, and it kind of like all hinges up to get to the battery access, making it pretty easy. So there was some of that stuff that is kind of cool, but maybe it won't be as popular with the people that are, you know, more fans of the traditional Tamiya way, or Tamiya way, however you want to say it. Either way, it is something new from Tamiya, so there's going to be people that are all over it. And amongst all of the other new Tamiyas that were shown there, they also have a new Porsche 911 GT3R, the 992. That looks fantastic. Now, underneath, of course, it is on a fully brand new, GT02, as always. But badass Porsche, amazing body. Tamiya just has this worked out. They don't need to release new chassis. People are going to buy these things anyway. Here's a new Porsche that looks great. But speaking of on-road cars, Carisma is releasing a new one this week, a 1/8 scale Nissan GTR, which looks great. Now, this is an R33, I believe, 32 or 33. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it is on the same on-road platform that their previous Audi Quattro was on. And how you can tell is because whoever was on the website designing the webpage didn't rename the URL. So the URL for this is just carisma.com/products/M48S Audi Sport Quattro S1 1985 Special Edition copy. It happens sometimes. It's an easy mistake to make, but you can tell that they just took that previous webpage, copied it, changed some stuff, but forgot to change the URL. Nonetheless, 8 scale all-wheel drive platform, perfectly appropriate for the model that they chose. Now, the photos that they took of this thing doesn't really give you the sense of scale that this must be for a 1/8 scale on-road. It's not, like the photos make it look almost smaller than 10th scale to me for some reason. I'm not really sure, it just how it appears. The specs and all that clearly shows that it is not that, but the photos just don't, there was no banana for scale. Like, needed something to let us know what we like, see what you're looking at and see that this thing is a presence that it is or could be. For some reason, I just like these on-road type platforms. This one obviously built on a platform that is durable enough to be used in like a rally type sense, like the Audi was. So it's kind of like that Arma infraction base where it's a sturdy platform that you can really beat on, but it's got kind of an on-road look, which for some reason I just like. So if you also would be interested in that, check this one out. I'll put a link to it down in the description below. Don't be fooled by the fact that it says Audi. But you can go check that out. I'll also put links to all of the rest of the stories that we talk about this week. Now, one that popped up during the end of last week was the fact that Axial Fest West has been canceled. I was down at King of the Hammers last week and actually stopped in the Axial/Horizon booth and talked to the guys in there. They let me know a little bit early what the news that was about to come, but it is out there now. They kind of like snuck it in there, not snuck it in there. I don't think that was their intention, but they put up a video. Andy from Horizon, the guy who leads and like does a lot of this event stuff, he put it out there in a video stating that Axial Fest West was not going to happen. They technically, I think like his words were roughly that we're going to be taking a year off. Now, taking a year off is always difficult. That doesn't always mean things come back. Hopefully it will. Now, it's been at Rob's Resort for the last few years, and that I think probably was what contributed to a lot of the things that were being seen. Attendance was down, enthusiasm was down, things like that. I think that there was maybe other factors that they were attributing to it, but I think that the location was probably the thing that was the biggest factor to that event, is that it just was not, it was a great location to go hang out at. It just wasn't a great location to have a rock crawling scale get-together event at, unfortunately. So unfortunately, it looks like that's not going to happen this year. Would have been my 9th Axial Fest, I believe. Met a ton of awesome people at Axial Fest over the years, but there will be more events. And if you're looking to see more of my stuff, you can check out the channel membership. Boom, segue. Channel membership helps support the channel a little bit extra. You get extra behind the scenes videos, and you also have videos like After News Delight, which is an extension of this show where we talk a little bit more about most of the topics that we happen to go through, just in a more candid or more, expanded way. You can check that out. Again, all the information for that is down in the description below, and I appreciate all of you that watch the channel regardless. But speaking of Horizon and their events, at the same time they made that announcement of the Axial Fest West not happening, they also gave us the dates for the rest of their premier events, including RC Fest, which happens out there near their headquarters in Illinois. Then you also have Axial Fest Badlands, which will continue to happen. That's over there in Indiana, I believe. Then you have, they're going to do the Armageddon again, which they held last year at the Freedom Factory down in Florida. This year, it looks like they are going to do it again, just not there and not 100% sure when. They're holding that information out. It says TBD. Then they also gave us the dates for Proline by the Fire. That's going to happen in October. October is a little bit later, just a couple of weeks. They pushed that back. And they also gave us the theme for it. This year is going to be Rockabilly, which I'm all for. That sounds perfect. I happen to A little 50s style, but obviously I've been working on a rockabilly named buggy for quite some time, though that seems like just the best opportunity for that buggy to keep going. And if you're looking for even more events to go to, there was a ton of different announcements over the last couple of weeks. We also had We Are Sea-Rock announcing 2 national events, a West and an East. West is going to happen in Cedar City, Utah in June. That'll be the 19th through the 22nd. And then the East event is going to happen at Disney, Oklahoma, and that will be from November 6th through the 9th. So 2 events. They're 4-day events because they're running a bunch of classes, including rock racing, the buggy classes, which is kind of like the premier classes, but then they also have plastic cage classes, a ton of great options for those events. So if you can get to either Cedar City or Disney or both, those are definitely ones that I think I would recommend. Next, Beat the Creek, one of the biggest events that is happening, especially east of the Mississippi. Then that is going to be from May 2nd through the 4th in Maysville, Kentucky. So all of those are events that I do hope to make it to. Just have to see how that works out. And then, which kicked off last weekend, but King of the Hammers is happening now. One of my favorite events of the year. Just the pinnacle of off-road racing for me. Rocks, desert, everything combined, from class 11 buggies to side-by-sides, Ultra 4 cars. Just my favorite things in the world. I was down there for a couple of days over the last handful of days. Had a great time. Back now, though, before the big race happens, which I can watch from the comfort of my own home with all of the monitors happening at once. If you'd like to watch King of the Hammers live, you can do that right here on YouTube. You'll find their live feeds. It'll be going every day, basically, through the end of this weekend. Some great coverage on there. And speaking of live videos, live stream takeover every Wednesday, including this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come check out Matt and I discuss all kinds. Matt was on vacation last week. He's back now. So we'll discuss that, I'm sure. We'll discuss my trip to King of the Hammers and a lot more because it's been a busy week. So get back on that here very soon. And if you work for an RC manufacturer and like to see any of your products on the Scale News Update, you can shoot me an email to news@harleydesigns.com. Include a photo, a description, and a link to where this product can be bought or when it will be available to cover here on the Scale News Update. Shoot that over, take a look. In the email this week, we did have from Brazin Scale. They recently released their Sever chassis. That's a new chassis platform that they have that can be ordered with leaf springs or without leaf springs. And they're now making downloadable body mount files so you can mount popular hard bodies to these very easily. You can buy the files and print them yourself, or it looks like you will be able to, or will be able to soon, get these in a print it for you type situation in case you just don't own a 3D printer yet. So if you've got a project in mind, but you haven't picked a chassis, or you've got one of those chassis and you didn't know how you're going to get your body on there, you go check out Brazin Scale, which again, it's linked below. And next, new from FlySky. This is the FS-G11P 11-channel radio. And this thing looks really good. Now, of course, it's just one photo, but from the photo, this thing looks impressive. 11 channels, projected to be $200. So extremely cheap. That handle on the side is made of aluminum. It's adjustable, a good touchscreen, 40 model memory, uses a 2S LiPo for easy power. Lithium ion or iron versus LiPo. There's some things there to be worried about, but I'm sure it's got cutoffs and things like that in there. At least I hope. But this thing looks really good. I've been a huge fan of the Radio Master here over the last year or more at this point. And the number of channels is great, but the interface on the Radio Master is the worst thing ever. I love the radio. It's just the worst thing to use, but it feels fantastic. I have not been a big fan of FlySky for a long time. I just never liked a lot of things about their products, but this thing looks really good. So, I don't know. I'd be interested in getting a hold of this and seeing how it feels. I mean, the look of it, if it's matched by the feel, that is a super impressive radio, especially for the price. In the information that I received, it didn't say what protocol that it was using, if it's using their, I think it's called ANT protocol or not. So I'm not really sure what the cross compatibility or what the ability for it to bind with receivers that come in stock vehicles will be. I'm sure that information will become available before too long. Not sure exactly when we'll see the rest of the information about this. It is currently Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. So a lot of manufacturers in China there's nothing happening for the next week or so. So I wouldn't expect much until after that period, and then maybe we'll see more come out. But this looks pretty interesting. We don't cover a lot of bashers typically, but this one just caught my eye. This one is from Habao, and it is the Extreme VTE2 ARTR. A speed-based platform, like a lot of the, I think they call it like GT type speed cars, run with setups like this, and this just fits right into that. It's got a cool floating body system in the rear, so you can set your ride height of the body in the back just right at ground, and no matter what the suspension does, the body will always stay at that level. I used to see that, or saw that on drag cars. I assume that the speed cars have been doing it for a while as well. It's just cool to see it out of the box. This thing looks wildly beefy. These cars, or this brand of cars, has been used in the high speed runs for a long time. I've been, I see a lot of that on like the YouTube videos and things like that I have watched. It's just impressive. Not 100% sure when we'll see this become fully available. I went to Habao's website and it's terrible. It's one of the worst websites. It still has like broken Flash plugins at the top. So, not something you can count on for, like super up-to-date quality updates. But I assume that you'll be able to find this information soon from the places that they distribute from or whatnot. But either way, it looks pretty cool so far. Well, looking for stories, I ran across a new release coming from Scale by Chris. This is a 3D printed rear utility bed for the CEN F450. And this thing is a great big 3D printed utility bed with working doors and all kinds of stuff. There's LEDs on it, the whole thing. It's a really cool looking overall design. Now, it does show that he is printing them for sale. A small number though, like I think there was 5 slots or something like that available for these. They're not inexpensive. $265, I believe, is what he's asking for these, but it is a lot of print time, he states. Not sure what the print time is what printer it's based on, but if you have a printer yourself, it also appears that he is going to be selling the model up on Colts 3D for like 30 or 40 bucks. So quite a bit less expensive if you've got your own printer and you want to put the time in to do that yourself. So if you got a CEN F450 and you like the way that this thing looks, maybe it's worth checking out. I did not have the link to the Colts 3D page at this point, but I'll put a link to his Facebook page, which is where he posted that, and you can go check there for more recent updates. And next, we've got a new release from HPI. Now, it's a new release, kind of. It's a Sport 3, which I don't believe is that new by any stretch, and it's a drift car. 4-wheel drive drift car, not exactly up to the times and things like that. I think that the reason I wanted to cover this, more than just being the fact that yes, it is a new car and HPI and they're doing things, but it's because it may be one of the longest product names I've ran into in quite some time. As it's listed from HPI, this is the HPI Racing 1/10 Aurimas OD Bakchis Nissan Silvia S15 Widebody Sport 3 Drift RTR. Now, I'm positive that has already run clean off the screen for you this way. It's all the way off the edge. You don't even get to see the full name. But for effect, I figured I'd just leave it like that. Is this going to be a competitive drift car? No. Is it the approach that Kyosho took recently with like actually redesigning and designing a proper platform, things like that? Not the HPI way at this point. But it's new from HPI, so progress. Something, just baby steps. Baby steps, baby steps. There you go. I don't really know who that's for. I feel like that's one of those, that's for the hobby shop to have something when somebody walks in that's easy or something. I don't know. I don't have a great solution for who that car is for exactly, but maybe you know somebody more. But that's going to do it for this week's topics. For this week's question, we're going to jump back up to that speed car. Now, most of us at some point, you get into RC, whatever it is, you look at how fast it goes. Even if some of us here just care about going slow over rocks now, maybe there's still that speed bug that lives in all of us a little bit. So what I want to know is, what is the fastest you've gone, either how estimated or by GPS, how fast you've gone with an RC car? I have not broken 100 miles an hour myself. Got very close, like 95 or 96 with my stock electronic infraction, which was so much fun. So much fun. And I've got a car with the electronics to go much faster, but I just never have done it for some reason. But I want to know, what's the fastest you've gone with an RC car? I feel like that could be fun. Reminisce on your speed glory days. But that's going to do it for this week's Scale News Update. Thank you all for hanging out with me as we continue to work on this space. I'm looking forward to making it my own. I've done a lot of work, even though it has not shown in here yet. We're getting closer. It's going to be a very cool studio. I'm happier and happier every day with how it's going to be coming together. But anyway, again, thank you all for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not already. Drop a comment down below. It's much appreciated. Channel membership's available if you're interested in that whatsoever. But with that, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.